In a peaceful village nestled near rolling hills, there lived a man named Riaz, known throughout the community for his intelligence and sharp mind. The village was a place where the air was fresh, birds sang melodiously every morning, and everyone knew each other by name. Riaz was admired for his knowledge, his ability to fix things, and his confident speech. Yet there was one trait that people quietly noticed and sometimes avoided. He always wanted to be right. If someone mentioned the market hours, Riaz would immediately correct them, insisting on precise details. If a friend offered advice, he would assert, without malice but with conviction, that his method was superior. He believed that the truth must be stated clearly and immediately, yet he failed to realize that truth without empathy often sounded like pride. His need to be correct gradually created distance between him and others, even though his intentions were not harmful. One day, while sitting outside a small tea shop, Riaz was conversing with his friend Salman about farming. Salman had practical experience, while Riaz had knowledge only from books. And when Salman suggested a new fertilizer, Riaz confidently declared that it would ruin the soil and that the old method was superior. Salman laughed politely, ending the discussion, but later confided to his wife that while he valued Riaz's intellect, he wished Riaz would sometimes listen instead of always correcting. Gradually, villagers began to avoid long conversations with Riaz. Not because he was unkind, but because every interaction felt like a test of knowledge. As Riaz walked through the village one day, he noticed an elderly man named Imran carrying a large, heavy basket of fruit. Imran tripped on a stone, scattering the mangoes across the ground, and Riaz rushed to help him, scolding gently about the dangers of carrying too much at once. Imran smiled softly, thanking Riaz for his concern, and Riaz felt proud, believing he had taught a valuable lesson. Yet, as he walked away, he sensed a strange calm in Imran's forgiving smile. A quiet wisdom that lingered in his mind, leaving him unsettled in a reflective way he had never felt before. Some days later, after a heavy storm had swept through the village and roads became muddy and rivers swelled, Riaz saw smoke rising from near the riverside. He ran toward the source and found Imran's small home partially submerged and on fire. Without hesitation, Riaz joined neighbors, fetching water and helping to save what they could. After the fire had been contained, Imran sat quietly, exhausted but composed, and Riaz instinctively began to lecture him about living too close to the river. Imran turned gently to him and said something that pierced Riaz's mind. Sometimes people do not need to be told they are wrong, they just need to feel that someone cares. Riaz was stunned. The rain could not match the stillness that fell upon his heart. That night, as he sat by his window listening to the lingering storm, the words repeated in his mind. They just need to feel that someone cares. He realized that all his life had been consumed with proving himself, correcting others, and asserting his rightness, but this had brought him loneliness and distance. He remembered moments when his corrections had caused pain, a sister's tears, a baker avoiding him, Salman's polite but strained smiles, and he understood for the first time that being right did not necessarily foster respect or love. A profound awakening stirred within him, and he whispered to the darkness that he no longer wished to simply be right. He wanted to be wise. Tears fell, not from regret, but from the recognition of a truth that could not be learned in books. Wisdom is knowing when to speak, when to remain silent, when to guide gently, and when to listen deeply. From that moment, Riaz began to change quietly and humbly. He started listening more attentively to those who sought his advice, offering guidance with empathy rather than correction, and approaching disagreements with curiosity instead of pride, saying softly that perhaps both parties could learn something new. Children smiled and waved at him again. Neighbors greeted him warmly, and Salman commented on the change, expressing how pleasant it now felt to converse with him. Riaz laughed, acknowledging that he had learned to temper truth with kindness, understanding that being wise creates love and connection, whereas being right alone may only create distance. Over time, he applied this approach in every aspect of life, seeing people not as challenges to correct, but as fellow travelers deserving patience, understanding, and care. One day, as he walked past Imran's repaired home by the river, Imran waved, and Riaz, smiling, replied that he was still learning, this time from the heart rather than from books. Through this transformation, Riaz discovered that the greatest knowledge is not merely knowing facts but understanding human nature, empathy, and the value of kindness. He realized that wisdom begins where ego ends, that true greatness comes from nurturing relationships, offering compassion and exercising restraint in asserting one's correctness. Riaz's life became a testament to the power of humility and thoughtful action. People who had once avoided him now sought his counsel, not to be corrected, but to be understood, and he found fulfillment in helping without showing superiority. Every interaction became an opportunity to practice patience, empathy, and listening, and through this, he observed that happiness and connection flourish when pride is set aside. Over the years, Riaz's quiet shift in behavior transformed not just his reputation, but the entire rhythm of the village, illustrating a simple yet profound truth. Being right may command respect temporarily, but being wise fosters lasting love, understanding, and harmony. He continued to grow, learning to balance truth with kindness, knowledge with compassion, and correction with encouragement. The villagers, inspired by his change, began to embrace a similar approach, noticing that conflicts softened when addressed with patience and relationships strengthened when people felt heard and valued. Riaz had learned that the essence of wisdom is not in proving one's superiority, but in nurturing trust, connection, and emotional insight. In embracing this principle, he discovered that life's challenges, arguments, and misunderstandings could be navigated with grace, turning moments of potential conflict into opportunities for empathy and learning. By choosing to act with kindness first, he became a model of thoughtful engagement, showing that one can speak truth without wounding, guide without belittling, and teach without arrogance. The moral of Riaz's story is that wisdom begins when ego ends, and while being right can bring temporary satisfaction, being kind and understanding creates enduring impact. Through this journey, he transformed from a man consumed by proving his correctness into a beloved figure whose presence brought warmth, insight, and guidance to all who crossed his path, demonstrating that the heart, more than intellect, determines the quality of human connection and the depth of one's legacy.